Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gaming Discourse FM. I am your host, Richard Dela Cruz, and this is the show where I get to highlight some of our favorite music from video games. We're going to be listening to everything from beeps and boops to intricate orchestral arrangements. Sometimes you'll get a steady stream of music, and other times you'll get some neat info afterwards. Regardless, we're going to have a good time today. So today we're going to start off with a couple tracks from the NES and the Game Boy era. And these tracks are a little more faster paced, and I'll use the word a little more shrill. So if your volume is a little bit up, turn it down a little bit, because the NES and the Game Boy had some really sharp sounds to them. They sound really great compiled together, but if you're not expecting it, then it might get to your ears a bit. But I hope you enjoy them regardless. So stick around and we'll be right back. The last group of tracks there were Stage 1 from Ninja Gaiden Shadow for the Game Boy, and then afterwards was Waterfall from Contra on the NES. But the final track in that group was Big Airship from Poppin' Twinbee for the Super Famicom. This track was composed by the Konami Kukeiha Club, which is a group of composers who work internally to provide music for many Konami games, such as Castlevania, Gradius, and others. Most of the arrangements for Poppin' Twinbee were provided by Kenichi Mitsuda. We're going to go a little more modern next, and if you've listened to our sister podcast, The Gaming Discourse, you may have heard me gushing about the music from Genshin Impact's 3.0 update, which introduced the land of Sumeru. Along with new areas, of course, comes new music. So, up next, it is the hustle and bustle of Port Ormos. Once again, that was the hustle and bustle of Port Ormos. This track was composed and arranged by Yupeng Chen and was performed by the London Symphony Orchestra. Quite possibly the best track in the Sumeru update. Its quiet start provides somewhat a soothing feeling, and towards the middle, we get this joyous explosion of sound that feels like its city is constantly alive and on the move, much like the name of the track suggests. The usage of the bansuri, the sitar, and the saz is noticeable, along with the soft percussion sounds that pretty much permeate most of the track, and it's a song that never fails to make me happy. Coming up next, we have another favorite of mine, and we're going to have a lot of those for sure. A bit different from our previous song, this track is a lot more bombastic and triumphant. Let's get started here. This is Return from Radiant Silvergun on the Sega Saturn. Once again, that was Return from the Radiant Silvergun soundtrack. This was composed by Hitoshi Sakamoto, and it's a wonderful soundtrack filled with the same melody that gets played over and over that you just heard on this track, but each song has a different tempo and arrangement to that singular melody. It's very interesting, but it's well worth a listen and one of my favorite soundtracks. I'm going to slow it down a bit for you guys. This is a very moody track from a licensed-based game on the NES. This is the Game Over screen from Sunsoft's Batman, the video game. Enjoy. Once again, that was the Game Over screen from Batman, the video game, and Naomi Kodaka composed that, and they also wrote the soundtrack for not only the NES version of the game, but the Genesis version as well. Kodaka has also composed for the Albert Odyssey series, Journey to Silius, and Fester's Quest, some of which will absolutely be featured in the future. And in 2002, Kodaka actually retired from game composition, and is now a professor at the Nagoya College of Music. And with that final piece of trivia, we have come to our final track of the night, and this is a wonderful piece from an early Sony JRPG called Wild Arms. And it is the world map theme, and world map themes are very, very important to JRPGs, or at least early ones. And what's really great about the Wild Arms map theme is that it really encapsulates the stereotypical Western sound that you would hear in spaghetti westerns and whatnot. It uses tings from tambourines and simulated woodwinds, and it produces just a really, really fun track. So for the final song tonight, I present to you the Overworld theme from Wild Arms. I absolutely love that track, and it was composed by Michiko Naruke, and she is responsible for the compositions to Wild Arms 1 through 4 and the first game's remake, Alter Code F. And since then, she has worked on many different games with other composers, which of course will be featured in the future. I thank you guys very much for listening today, tonight, or whatever time you're playing this. Please make sure to follow our SoundCloud at Gaming Discourse FM and our YouTube account, Gaming Discourse FM. If you would like to hear video game news and watch video content on our channel, you can also follow our sister podcast at the Gaming Discourse on YouTube. Thank you very much, and keep gaming.